crawling with psychopathic killers.
Wildstar, adventure is about to get an ass kicking.
Hello and welcome to This Week in Wildstar, Episode 3. I am Jazzy, joined today by Nuts. How you doing?
Doing great.
We have an awesome episode today. We got a lot of really exciting stuff happening this week.
Yes, we do.
We finally have our release date. Hooray! With the release date, we also got an NDA drop, and we have pre-order details. Some exciting bonuses coming along with pre-orders. Woo! Alright, so some exciting news this week. We finally have a release date for Wildstar. Yay! Our release date, the official launch, June 3rd, 2014. Yay!
It's too far away.
It's still far away, but at least we have a date, finally. And to make that even better, get it a little closer for you. As a pre-order bonus, you buy the game before June 2nd at midnight, you're actually going to get a 3-day head start. So your game will start on May 31st. Yay!
Awesome. What I'll be doing.
They're going to have 2 editions of the game available, and they're doing theirs a little differently than you see from most MMOs. They're going to have a standard edition, which you can go to like a GameStop or Best Buy or whatever, and buy a physical box, or you can buy it online.
Standard edition is going to consist of a couple of cool in-game items, such as the rocket ship house. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm excited for that. An in-game housing trophy.
Yay, housing stuff.
Yeah, I think we're going to be posting some pictures of the stuff. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put those up on the video right now.
So
everybody listening
as
can
we're
see 'em.
talking, we'll post some pictures for you guys. Next, we have the in-game title, Chosen of the Progenitors. Progenitors meaning ancestors, basically. So you are chosen by your ancestors. Cool word there. Tongue twister, as
I couldn't say
Jazzy
it.
knows.
That's why Matt gets
And
it.
also, you get access to the beta weekend. Sunday, the 16th, is when the 24/6, because they're closed on Mondays, the beta is going to end. Well, it's
Yeah.
not going to end, but it's going to end on the weekdays. And only certain beta weekends, Wildstar will be up and
Sad
running.
face. Yeah,
Yeah, so we could probably post a link of the days if you're interested in that. It's like every other week.
yeah, something like that. They have it on the FAQ for the pre-orders. If you go to the Wildstar website, it tells you all the dates that it'll be open. But it looked like, it was about every other weekend up until the weekend of May 4th through the 6th, which I assume is going to be maybe open beta after that until launch.
Yeah,
maybe a couple weekends. But like you were saying, the persistent beta, anybody who's in closed beta right now and isn't like a weekend tester or a stress tester, that's actually going to end on Sunday. So
Unless. Also, if you are in closed beta, as of right now, if you get to level 32 in game, then you don't have to pre-order to be in the beta weekends. So you can wait a bit if you're low on cash.
And something else they did with the pre-orders too, that anybody who hasn't been in beta at all, if you pre-order, you actually can only play up until level 17. So they cap you out. But if you're, it's kind of confusing. If you're playing now in the closed beta and you're not 32, I think you can continue to play with that character. I'm not sure though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, anybody who hasn't played to this point will only be able to play up to level 17 if they pre-order. So it's
Gotcha.
cool to get you a little taste of it, but you won't be able to go, to 50 and start raiding.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to burn yourself out either. I know me and
Yeah.
Jazzy haven't played in a bit just because we don't want to burn ourselves out. We want things to stay fresh,
Yeah.
We don't want to be playing endgame and then be like, when we get to the endgame with everybody else, oh yeah, you've been staying in that red spot.
Yeah.
You're totally going to die. Yeah, we want it to be new and exciting, especially when the game fully comes out. So
The other thing they're going to have is what I was saying was a little bit different from other MMOs. They're not going to have a physical Founders or Collector's Edition. They had said before that they weren't sure if they were going to do that because they didn't want people to feel like they were being cash grabby, that they wanted to earn people's trust, which is a good thing. That's very cool of them. What they're going to do is have what's called a digital deluxe edition. It's going to be $15 more, and it can be purchased on the WildStar website. When you purchase the digital deluxe edition, it'll include everything that came in the standard edition, but it'll also have access to 2 dyes that can only be obtained through the digital deluxe edition purchase that are green and gold. There's an Elden themed hoverboard, an Elden augmentation costume, and a special Elden title that they haven't told us what that title is yet. So a couple little extra things there to show off.
The hoverboard looked really cool.
Yeah. It
So
looks
for sure,
interesting.
we'll post those pictures.
I'm not so sure about the costume though.
Yeah, it does look weird. Do the weird pants come with it?
I think that's just the
is that
character
just-
naked.
Okay.
I hope.
Yeah, there'd be some
Maybe?
weird pants.
And another perk that comes with pre-ordering the digital deluxe edition is you'll actually have the chance to reserve a character name and a guild name 2 weeks before launch.
Is it just a chance? Is that what it is, or is it a guarantee?
You know, I am not sure. It's probably like a first come, first serve thing. That's probably why they worded it with chance instead
Yeah.
of guaranteed, because you know you're going to
Yeah.
be rushing to beat all these other people.
Better not take my name.
Oh, totally. I'll just sell it back to you.
Okay.
You can pre-purchase the game up until June 2nd at midnight and get all of the pre-order bonuses. So if you guys want all those perks and all the shiny things and all the cool stuff to show off, make sure you get it before June 2nd at midnight.
And obviously, all the stuff is cosmetic. It doesn't change gameplay at all. It's pretty stuff, so
They did a good
it's
job
not a
with
huge
that.
loss.
Yeah. Some people were worried that it was going to be something that was, you know, fundamentally game-breaking, like XP potions or something like that.
Yeah, thank God it's not.
I know,
I'm
right?
pulling ESO over here.
They've been so good with that. And
Glad.
another side note, because not everybody knows, and I've seen it asked quite a bit, your characters from the beta will be wiped when the head start starts
Yeah,
on
thanks.
May 31st.
That's to be expected. To be
Yeah.
honest, guys.
So if you're especially attached to your characters, make sure you get plenty of pictures, because
Yeah.
they're going to go bye-bye.
Frame it. Whatever you gotta do.
Use it as a wallpaper on your computer.
Yeah.
And one more side note is that the region that you purchase your WildStar game in will determine what servers you'll have access to, whether they be North American or European. And WildStar isn't supporting cross-region gameplay, so make sure you keep that in mind when you purchase your game.
We have the NDA left, and the NDA, for those of you who do not know, it stands for Non-Disclosure Agreement, meaning we cannot share our experiences, we can't share videos, pictures, streams, stuff like that. We have been under that the NDA for a while, and now it is lifted, meaning anyone can make videos, anyone can stream, etc., stuff like that.
And we
will
can tell
be
you
doing
guys
that
we've
the
been in
future.
beta.
Yeah.
Yay!
That was the hardest part, I think. Trying to talk about Wildstar and not talking about our experiences. Kind of
Yeah.
tough. Maybe you've seen us mess up. Hopefully not. I think we did a good job with that. Anyway,
Keeping ourselves
so all
tight-lipped.
people will be able to stream, like I said before. People who pre-order have access to beta, like we also said before. So it's a major part, but it's a pretty small subject in a way.
So, since that NDA has lifted, why don't you and I go ahead and talk about our personal beta experience and what we have thought of WildStar so far.
Oh boy, it's time to get some stuff off our chests.
I know, so exciting. We can finally talk about this stuff. So we're going to talk about some of our favorite things from the beta, a lot of things we like, some of the things we didn't like, and we'll go from there.
So the first thing on our list, we have a couple of things here. We got class. I like the Stalker. That's the character, the highest level character I have on my list. I've always been a
How far did you get with your stalker?
level 30. I'm not quite level 32, but I'm probably going to pre-order it anyway, so that's not a big deal. I like the Stalker, and WoW. I know I keep comparing it to WoW. It's not anything like WoW, really.
Now, you've been tanking on your stalker mostly, right?
Yes, Stalkers can tank, and I have been doing that. It's different, because you don't have heavy armor like the engineer or the warrior does, so you actually you can't just sit there and tank and smack it. You gotta be moving. That's pretty much how it is for all bosses, so you can't just sit there and take it, but especially as a stalker, you gotta be moving. You get the nanobot things to help you out, heal you, stuff like that. Pretty cool. I like the stealth and that actually increasing your defense. So I like the Stalker. It's pretty cool.
And the cool thing about the Stalker's stealth is that that's actually their innate ability, and it works a lot differently than most other MMOs have done stealth classes to this point, where you stealth around until you take damage or open an attack. But they actually have some really unique gameplay with that stealth that, you can do it in combat and reset things, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
I'll show you some stuff. We'll make videos and stuff, but that innate for the stalker, I don't know if we're going to be talking about every class in depth like this, but just because it was one of my big experiences of beta, because that's what I've been focusing on the most. You have a bunch of different abilities that are actually affected with stealth. So like backstab, that will always be a critical hit if it's not called backstab. I forgot what it's called, but I'll let you know later. But it is a backstab because it does extra damage when you attack an enemy from the back with that ability. If it's in stealth, it always crit. That's nice, but you can use it out of stealth, it just won't crit. Enough about my class experience. How about you, Jazz? What is your favorite class?
My favorite class has been the Spellslinger. I have had an amazing time with the class. The only time I kind of didn't have very much fun was in the last big patch because they made them super weak.
Oh, really?
I couldn't even kill things my own level. It was horrible. That was
man.
probably one of my least
They were really
favorite
good.
times
They
of
were
beta.
really good with me.
Some of the things I really enjoy about Spellslinger is that they are the most mobile class in the game. They're what you would call the glass cannon, that they do a lot of damage now, now that they're fixed. They do a lot of damage, but they cannot take hits very well. And I kind of had to retrain myself after so many years in WoW, and I know we keep comparing to WoW, but whatever.
It is the most known.
It is what it
MMO
is. We
out
all
there. You gotta
played
give it some
WoW.
credit.
I had to retrain myself because in WoW, having played a hunter as my, ranged gun or, bow class, that I had medium armor. And I kind of got myself killed a lot in the beginning, having that mindset, thinking I could take a little more than I could. And once I got through that, there's actually some really fun and really interesting gameplay with the Spellslinger because of the need to be more mobile. You need to be a lot more aware of your surroundings. You're going to have to kite quite a bit. You're going to have to make use of your snares and your stuns quite a bit. They're a lot of fun, and even in PvP, I had a ton of fun with it. It's just amazing how just up and active and around they are. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and going back to what Jazz was saying about, moving and stuff, you gotta be moving. Like, a lot of people are saying that it's really hard, that Wildstar is hard. I wouldn't say so. You just gotta be you gotta pay attention. This isn't a game where you could just,
Can't
you
just
gotta
stand in one
be
place and hit
moving.
buttons.
Because almost every mob has some sort of telegraph. I'm pretty sure every mob has a telegraph.
And they hurt a
If they're
lot.
not, even if they're not in the dungeon, you stand in it, you're probably gonna
Yeah.
die. I've died multiple times.
to questing mobs. Yep.
Yeah, just a regular questing mob's my level,
For
or even
sure.
under my level a bit, like 1 or 2 levels.
Yeah.
I'll still destroy you.
They've actually
You gotta be
said
moving.
that they made those telegraphs hit harder on those questing mobs because they want you to understand that hurts.
Yeah.
Get out of it. And questing
know how to
mobs
be
will
in those.
kill you if you try and stand in them.
Yeah.
That's the, Wildstar puts itself on a higher difficulty curve. I mean, it is more difficult than some other MMOs we've seen before, definitely.
It's definitely a different learning curve than most MMOs. I know, I forgot what the other MMO was called. I think Terra.
Terra.
Yeah, which does have telegraphs, but I just know that in this Wildstar, you gotta be moving because
Yeah.
telegraphs will.
I mean, telegraphs aren't a new concept in general.
No,
This
they're
game definitely takes it to another level. They make a lot more use of them than most MMOs.
Right.
So, yeah, even questing mobs will kill you, no matter your class, and whether you're, like me, a spellslinger in light armor, or you're a warrior or engineer in heavy armor. They hurt. They'll knock you for a third of your health, and then they tick about 5 times. So, if you don't move, you're dead.
And no one wants to be victim to disorient. That's like the worst CC ever.
Yes. Disorient
Because you
and
could do
blind.
anything you want.
Disorient and blind are my 2 least favorites.
Yeah, you're just sitting there, especially with disorient. You're like, oh, I can get him, and then you just keep pressing buttons, and it's all different.
Yeah,
And
and
it pretty much changes the key bindings.
it changes
Everything.
all of your keys. So up might be left, right might be backwards. It rebinds all your keys while you're disoriented. So you literally are disoriented. And blind, unlike most other MMOs where it just kind of makes you walk around in a circle for a second, it literally puts black up on your screen and you cannot see your character except for this little tiny sliver in the middle.
Yeah.
And you might as well not be able to see your character at all. I
Yeah.
probably have died more times to those 2 than any other CC effect. Alright, so let's talk about our favorite race. What is your favorite race, Nuts?
That's a good question. I'm kind of lame when it comes to MMOs. Like right now, my stalker is a Castian. I don't know why. I just kind of like when I make a character in an MMO, my usual main character. For some reason, I think it should be kind of like me, so a human, obviously. So I don't know. I do like a lot of the races. A problem that we can get to a bit later, or we can just talk about now. It's not really a problem, but you know, on a lot of MMOs. Some races won't have certain classes. So like a Chua can't be a stalker, which would be hilarious if a Chua could be a stalker because it's so small and sneaky, maniacal, like, you know. So hopefully they add some more classes. Some don't have many classes for them, you know. So like a Draken can only be, a warrior, a spell slinger, and something else, a stalker.
Yeah.
So they don't have many options there.
Usually they do that, though, to make your character choices a little more meaningful. I mean, personally, for me, I think it would be kind of boring if everyone could be everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's just me. But, I mean, I hope at some point, and I would think they would, and I feel like they're going to be successful. We just know that already. So when their first expansion comes out, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to add like maybe another race or more classes, you know, so there will be a little more variety probably at some point. But I would, and another reason I think that maybe with Wildstar that they did this, because they've talked about like they have customization for your character, but the sliders that they have that you can adjust, like the eyes and the nose and all that, they only have for the face. They don't have that for the body. And they talked about on the forums, they don't have any of that stuff because of animation time. So I guess for me personally, I would rather they get the game out and focus on a few like really good animations for those, you know, like a Chua can be 4 of them, I believe, as well. Medic, Esper, Spellslinger, and Engineer. Thank you. So I'd rather they focus on, you know, like that, those 4 classes and the animations and get the game out, and then they could do that other stuff later.
Right.
I wouldn't want to wait another 6 months so that they can add, you know, a Chua Stalker.
Or a fat Chua,
you know? Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's stuff that can all be
sense.
done later. It's not to say that they won't ever. They just don't have time to do it now. This game has been in production, you know, for what, 4 years now?
We just want it out right now. So,
so we're ready for it to be live.
Yeah. But if I had to choose between a race that's not a human, I really like the Mordash. I know that's going against our Dominion loyalties.
Dominion.
But the Mordash are pretty cool. I messed with the character creation before that server went PvP, and I can't make one anymore. I really like their hairstyles, their faces, how they have, like, you know, the cool fluids running through their body.
So what's your least favorite race then?
The Orin.
The Orin.
Happy.
I think I might have to agree with that.
Yeah, they don't want to be mean here. They're all too happy, and you can't look badass as an Orin, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, maybe you can with super cool armor, but I've never seen an awesome. Granted, I've only played on the Dominion.
They kind of look a lot like anime characters.
They do. They have really big eyes.
And I feel like it's kind of out of place somewhat. I know that it's a, you know, sci-fi MMO. I kind of, like you said, they have really big eyes. They have a tail. They have ears. And they're human. So it's, I don't know. That's kind of the vibe I've always got from them. They kind of feel like an anime character, which some people probably like. Personally, not for me. So.
What is your favorite race? I already know this.
Chuas.
If you can't tell,
Yes.
Can't tell by her picture.
Oh, I love me some Chuas.
I don't even think you have any other characters besides that's not a Chua.
Nope. I don't. Which means I've had very limited experience with warriors and stalkers, honestly.
I have a friend who, he wasn't really buying Wildstar. Like, he didn't like the races very much. And then when the new races came out and he saw Chua, he freaked out, especially when it starts screaming in your face in that video.
I really love the Chua most because of that. Like you said, they're really excited. They're up in your face. They're crazy. They blow things up.
Like rebellious and maniacal. And
I mean, they're just
you should just see their emotes. Jazzy has a video of the Chua emotes. Check that out.
Them. They're fun and they're adorable.
Videos,
They're so damn cute. Oh, I love my Chua. That picture I have. Look at that face. He's so cute. How could you not love them? What's funny is a lot of people don't, and I think that's weird. They went from being one of the most popular races. The Orin and the Chua were the top two for each side, and then they kind of fell down a little bit. Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know the Orin would be.
I know.
Man, the Mordash were cool. Come on.
Yeah. And since I already told you, my least favorite is probably the Orin too. I'll give you another one that I kind of like. I like the Makari.
They're cool. I did make when I was in the stress test when I wasn't in full beta. I made a Makari engineer. No, I'm a Makari stalker. Mm-hmm. This is before I had my super cool stalker. Now.
Yeah.
They were pretty fun. They were really tall. I think they're the tallest.
Yes. So, are there any story elements or quests that you really enjoyed in the beta? Anything that sticks out in particular?
It's been a while since I've actually quested, but what I do know is I haven't really gotten bored of questing, because while there's the traditional go gather bee mushrooms or go kill these wolves for whatever reason, there's usually at least I think 1 out of 3 quests at least has something different where it's like you get an item and you gotta go blow something up, or you gotta go interact with something. It's not always just kill something, bring me it, and stuff like that. It's different.
There was a couple quests in Dehradun that stick out in particular to me that kind of went off the beaten path like you're talking about. There was one quest where it was you had to go infiltrate this camp of exiles and figure out, why they were strip mining this area. And then towards the end of that quest chain, they give you a big old rocket gun and you get to blow a ship out of the air while that ship is shooting at you on the ground. It's shooting at you from the sky on the ground, and you blow this ship out of the air with this big old rocket gun. And it was something small and it didn't take long, but to me that was one of the first points where I was like, oh, that's really cool, something kind of different. And then there was another quest also in Dehradun that you had to go up to this little camp and talk to these Chua, and he wanted you to go take a rhino and go blow up these people. And you actually become that rhino. You get to run off and then you hit a button and your rhino explodes and kills all these people. So, they do have fun stuff. Like you said, it's hard to get away from the, kill 10 of this, gather 10 of these.
You gotta have those. It's hard to...
bread and butter for any MMO. You're gonna have them, regardless, no matter how you're picking them up. That's really where different MMOs come into play, is how you obtain the quests.
Right.
So...
and they did a really good job of adding quests that keep you interested.
Yeah.
Where it'd be simple quests like Protostar Initiative, staff is getting abducted by aliens or something, and they're getting abducted and you gotta jump kick them out.
So you and I both only got to level 30, but we did get to experience a few of the zones. Of the ones that we played, which one was your favorite zone?
My favorite zone? That's a good question. I forgot what they're called. Which one was the one that had all the grasslands and stuff and had the cows? Dehradun?
Oh, was it Aurora?
Yeah, I think it's Aurora, the second zone. I think that's through 21 or something like that.
Yeah.
I like that place just because I was walking around doing a quest and I found this awesome Q-Pig. They're like pigs, but they're cubes. And then I found the King Q-Pig, and I started bowing to the King Q-Pig, and then it was just awesome because I took a picture of it. I don't know if I still have it, but
I want a Q-Pig.
I like that area.
Didn't that zone have the big outdoor dungeon thing too? You had to take a huge trek up to the top of this big, it was a big, I would call it an outdoor dungeon. The only thing I can compare it to again is in WoW. I can't even remember the name of the zone in WoW, but it was a big outdoor dungeon and it had a bunch of trolls in it and you had to run up, but it was kind of similar to that. It was outside, there were a lot of elite mobs. I think there was an event that went on there.
I know there was a world boss there, a giant bee, and that was cool. And that was actually kind of a problem in beta. Well, not anymore, but it was. Yeah, people would grind off it because you get
a ton of XP.
You got at least 3/4 of your level.
Yeah, I was gonna say between 1/3 and more of your level, depending on your level. People went from 15 to 25 just killing that boss over and over.
Yeah, it was pretty cheap. It's not a way to play beta. It's definitely, I did it once just for the experience.
But the zone bosses in general are a very cool concept. Each zone, I believe, has their own zone boss, and they're 20-man bosses that you can fight. You get I think they changed it now so that you get like a percentage of your level rather than like a set amount. So I think it's like 10 or 15% of your level you can get from doing it. Yeah, the zone bosses are a lot of fun. The 3 that I saw, there was Metal Ma, who would summon ads and had lasers of death. There was the bee.
That was in Daradun, wasn't it?
Yes, Metal Ma was in Daradun. There was the Queen Bee, who summoned ads and shot down honey and stuff to slow you down. And then there was like Mega Metal Ma in White Veil.
White Veil, that's the snowy place. I like that place too.
That place was a lot of fun. My favorite one, even though I didn't get to play a lot of it because of my Spellslinger troubles, once I got here, it pretty much brick-walled me and stopped me, was Farside. It was the first zone that's off-planet.
A leveling zone.
Yeah, and it had a lot of really interesting quests there. Like I said, I didn't get to do a whole lot of them.
Is that the Biodome one?
Yes.
Like in the giant biome? Yeah, that place was fun. I did have some mini-map troubles that made it hard. It wasn't mini-map troubles. I just couldn't see where I was on the map, so I couldn't really find my way to quests.
That was I think the big part of why I might have liked that one, as far as, going back to story elements and stuff like that, that was the first zone that kind of made me pay attention more to the story. I was trying, like you said, not to do too much because I want to save some stuff for live. There is a really dark understory to Wildstar.
And I actually never read any of the quests, but you told me some of the things that it said, and it's pretty dark. I mean, it's like this game, as you know, if you've been following it,
and
it's really happy and funny. It's really dark.
You know what the crappiest part is? Dominion are assholes.
Yeah, they are like the Empire. They're like Star Wars. If you compare Star Wars to Wildstar, we're the Empire.
But yeah, because there's even, like, I went back today and was redoing some of the starting zone just to kind of look around and see if there's anything else that I missed before it went down. And even just reading the first, like, Tales from Beyond the Fringe and stuff like that, adventurers journals and all that, it says in there that they don't care about any races on the planet, that they'll move them, get rid of them, destroy them by any means necessary. They don't care. So even stuff like that, that's kind of their general attitude about everything. But yeah,
they are the supreme race according to Cassie.
Pretty much.
And the Albans.
So if anybody's questioning if there's, more to this story than just in your face funny personality, there's definitely more to the understory in Wildstar. So I definitely recommend that you pay attention to the lore. So this is another one that you and I only got to experience a couple, and we kind of talked about this in our first episode, but we'll go ahead and touch on it again. Of the 2 dungeons that we ran, Stormtalon and Kel'Varath, which one was your favorite?
Kel'Varath, I think. Stormtalon was fun. But it wasn't as big, I think, as Kel'Varath.
No,
like Kel'Varath was big, and there's a lot of area, and there's a lot to soak in, where Stormtown was in a cave. It's still a good dungeon, don't get me wrong, but I like the boss better. Final boss.
The final boss, yeah. That's definitely been one of my favorite experiences overall in the beta to this point, was the last boss of Kel'Varath.
I remember when I wasn't even on Skype with you guys. We were playing Kel'Varath. I remember I really wasn't paying attention during the last boss. I just ran in, and I think you told me not to go in, like to come back as soon as I can. I was like, what are you talking about?
You just ran
and I ran in, and I was like, oh my god! And there's just explosions and death everywhere. We ended up beating it, but it just scared me. I jumped a little, I think.
And I think that was another wow moment for me in Wildstar. Like, not wow like the game, but wow, this is awesome. Because, and I'm going to talk about WoW anyway, but to this point, the only MMO I've ever played really is WoW, so that's why I compare this to WoW a lot. To this point, that was something that I saw in a raid in WoW. Those kind of mechanics were endgame. And then we were seeing these mechanics at level 20 in, one of the first dungeons of the game. So that was incredible to me, to think this is what we're doing now, where are we going to be when we get to raids?
Yeah, if you think the telegraphs and questing is hard, just wait till you get to dungeons. I wouldn't say they're hard, but if you're not paying attention and you stand in them, you're going to die. You're going to wipe them.
Yeah.
You got to make sure.
Exactly.
You got to plan your stuns right. You got to work with the team and work with the stuns and get that interrupt armor down, and because some might actually kill you. It's different. I like the dungeons. They're very well made. I've only seen 2. I think there's a 3rd one out in beta, but I haven't actually gotten to play it.
I think there's 5 total before you get to endgame. Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Because I had one unlock when I got to 30, but like you have to find the entrance to them.
Yeah, you got to find the entrance to the dungeons now. So there is a dungeon finder, but you still have to find the the dungeon.
You have to find it
entrance.
at least once before you can use the random dungeon finder. Yep, correct.
That's pretty nice. I'm not a fan of the dungeon finder. I mean, I kind of am. I mean, it's convenient, especially if you're not a player that has much time and you just want to get like 40, 30 minutes to do a dungeon, go do it real quick.
The hope is that you can do it with your guild, because then, with your guild stuff, you need to group in this game to get guild levels. It's not like other MMOs do where anyone doing anything will earn XP for the guild. You have to be grouped with your guildies to get any kind of guild XP.
You interact more with the community when there's not a guild finder, because you're not like searching through guild or the general chat asking who wants to group with me, and you don't learn about people and your server. I mean, there's still a lot of community stuff going on. And
well, they do have an option in the dungeon finder that if you only want to group with people on your server for that reason, you can select that as well. So.
That works well, so you can do that.
So what do you think of professions? Do you have a chance to play
Professions
with
are
those?
very interesting. Yeah, I was a weaponsmith. I was a weaponsmith for my profession with my stalker. We could kind of touch on gathering, because the gathering is different also. You get a laser pickaxe. Well, because I was a weaponsmith, I had to get ores, so I had a laser pickaxe. And I'd pick away at the mines, and you don't even have to use a pickaxe. You can just hit it. You use your abilities on it, and it will give you your ores.
Yeah, that's really cool, actually.
Yeah, and something I found funny is some ores you might get lucky. Weird spider ore guy will pop out.
Yeah.
You're actually like hurting him, and then you gotta fight him because he's attacking you back, and he gives you more.
I've seen there's some that, like, I don't know if you ever saw this, but there's some that are big, and if you fight them, they
There's a
put
worm.
like a hole in the ground, and you can like jump down in the hole and.
That was a giant ore worm.
Yeah.
And that was in Whitevale, the first one I saw. It's like, I'm just going to grab this real quick. And then it popped to the ground. I was like, oh my God!
Holy
and then
crap.
I killed it. I'm like, ooh, a hole. And along with the holes, you don't have to fight a giant worm to get a little worm. They're called wormholes, I think. You don't need to kill a worm. Sometimes they just pop up.
Oh, okay.
So, like, you take it kind of looks like, sometimes when you find, you ever find one of those secret things where it's like, there might be a secret under here. You pick it up and it's like an Elden buff.
Yeah.
It's
the
kind of like
discoveries.
that, except you find it under ores. I don't know about cutting down trees or stuff like that.
I had that one. It didn't
there
really
anything like
have. It didn't really have anything like that. No, mining was definitely a lot more exciting.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to do because like you're mining into the ground, so you might find like a cave.
Yeah.
Whereas you're chopping down a tree, you can't really find a cave full of trees.
That would
So
be
I don't
interesting,
know.
though. You can light them on fire. Nice.
Yeah, and I think with the I think it's called the survivalist.
Yeah, that's what I had.
So you're not just chopping down trees, or also
You got
skinning
leather,
animals.
and
Yeah.
meat.
So
Yeah, but it had the same concept. It had a laser chainsaw, which looked really cool. Just a little laser poking into the tree, and the trees would come apart in like 3 sections. You could vacuum them up. You'd see it drop down piece by piece. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then skinning, it was like skinning basically. You had leathers, and then it would gather meat. So it was good for leveling cooking as well. It helps with that, which cooking everyone can get. I had an architect, which really, generally speaking, architect needs every gathering profession.
Yeah.
You need something
So
from
I
everything.
would give you my leftovers or something
Even
like that.
relic hunter. Architect was interesting. I like what they're doing also. They have a really different crafting system than any other MMO I've ever seen. They have what's called coordinate crafting for some of them. So it's got like an XY, like a graph basically, and it's got items like a square in each corner or on the line. Somewhere on the graph there's a square. And you have to add components, which cost extra money that I'm not a fan of, but to each one of your items along with the crafting materials you need for the item. And when you add the components, it moves a little crosshair on a certain point on the graph, and you have to add 3 components to it to get it to land on one of those squares so you can craft that item.
Is that for architect?
Yeah, I think there's a
Yeah.
couple professions. Cooking does that as well.
Cooking was weird. I was like, oh, whoa.
I only
didn't
did
get
that
it.
a little bit, but
Yeah, I could have spent more time in it, but
cooking did this right away. It took me a little while in Architect to get to this. Once you get to a certain point in the coordinate crafting, this is all I did was the coordinate crafting. Instead of it showing you exactly where that square is on the coordinate graph, it's gonna cover it with like a circle and say it's somewhere in here.
You gotta find it.
So you have to land somewhere in there. And usually they kind of give you clues, like each point on the graph, the 4 points on it, will tell you like you're adding decorative or you're adding functional or things like that. Because architect is for housing. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's housing items.
Yeah,
So,
that's how you had the cool house. You had all this cool stuff.
yeah. And the thing too, to level in it, I had to make 5 of like everything. That was
Yeah,
the
that's
only
how it was
thing.
for me as
I was
well,
like, oh
yeah.
my gosh, that's a lot. I mean, I guess it's the same concept as most other like click set it and forget it MMOs. You have to make like 15 of one thing to level up to the next point. So it's kind of similar. And then once you would make like 5 of that item, they had a little, almost a talent tree. I don't really know what to call the first one because they did have like a talent tree, but
Yeah,
they had
that's how-
another
that's
little
what they
area
had,
that
so.
said once you make 5 of these, you'll unlock this. And it would move you down the tier, basically. So you had to make 5 of them to unlock the next thing and move on like that. It was fun. Like you said, I got a lot of extra cool stuff. And they had a couple things that were architects only. I don't know if every profession has specific things to each one. Did you see any weapons or anything that were weaponsmith only?
There might be some PvP ones because there was. I'm gonna I'll touch on that because I wanted to explain because it's different for a weaponsmith and armorsmith. Also, because I did do I was a leather maker for a small time. The way that most gear stuff works is you'll have to buy some parts like you did before with yours. I don't know if it's as much. You had to get some capacitors. The way it works is there is a energy level. It's almost like tree, but it's really not. It's not like a tech tree or anything. It's
That's what it was, tech tree.
yeah.
Couldn't think of the word.
So it's the way it works is you're gonna put in your capacitor and then you could put in 2 more slots. You have 2 slots and you could put in a stat. So like let's say WoW, you could change the stats on something. So if you didn't want spell power, or you wanted crit or something, you could do that. And this you actually get to put it on it from the get-go when you actually craft it. So
Wow.
let's say I wanted grit and brutality. I could put that in and then I could increase it, and that would increase the amount of energy I'm putting into that weapon. And there is a cap for how much you could put in, and there's also a fail rate. So you could fail your
Ooh.
crafting a weapon or armor.
Now when you fail it, does it take your mats still?
It takes the mats, you get EXP for it, so it gets
So
destroyed.
you want to be careful.
It's not hard to actually succeed.
Do you think maybe at higher levels it might be though? Is there some kind of
It
like
might be.
element where it might not show you, kind of like mine did?
Way it works is you get this energy. So let's say there's 80 energy points that you could put into the weapon. The higher you get, like closer to 80, at a certain point, it might start overcharging. So let's say you get to 80, and then you still want to put in points. It will start to overcharge, and then it will have like a meter that says this has a 23% chance to fail. So let's say I put in a capacitor, 80 points, and then I put in 17 grit and 12 brutality or something like that. If it's close to 80, if it's not above 80, or if it's under 80 or 80, it won't fail. But if you start to overcharge it and you want to get in more points, then you can, you might have a chance to fail. I have had it fail before, but it's kind of, I don't push it too far to where it will. It's like over 50%. It's usually under 23% for me.
Gotcha.
So that's because I haven't pushed it too much, but there is a limit too. So like, it just will like explode or something like that. It just won't even let you craft it. And going with the tech tree that we were talking about, just real quick, you'll like make kind of like you don't really go to a trainer like in WoW and learn recipes. You gotta make certain weapons, like you said, like I had to make like 3 of one weapon, 3 of another weapon, and then I go to the next tech spot, and
Which
then I
is
have new
nice.
weapons to make.
You don't have to run
Yeah,
back
so
and
you
forth
get
to
to
someone.
you don't have to like pay money to get recipes and stuff.
Yeah, because I was doing a lot of my crafting like at my housing plot, just on my crafting bench. So that would be a pain in the butt to have to run back and forth each time. So it's
Yeah.
nice to have it where it's just, on the go. You just learn the next one after you make so many in the tier before it, basically.
Yeah.
It's really nice,
So-
though. They did a good job of balancing it, though, too. It's really in-depth, but not, unreachable for the average person.
Yeah. So you can like appeal to people by like because only one class can use one weapon, like one type of weapon, like
Yeah.
or it can only use a sword.
Oh, you can do, like,
So-
specialties, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so
Oh,
like if
neat.
I wanted, let's say you're a tank,
I know
if
that.
you want grit and tech, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not as a warrior, but okay, for a stalker, because I was a tank, I wanted tech was my first and grit was my second. So if I wanted that, I could buff out my weapon or armor with that stat, so it would appeal to my playstyle or what I'm doing. If you're going damage, then I could put brutality or moxie or finesse or something like that on there. So you don't have to find the recipe. You put your own thing into it.
All right, what were some of your favorite challenges that you came across?
Challenges. Oh, God. What's my favorite challenge? I forgot what it was, but you had to, like, hit someone with a shovel or something. You had to, like, I think it was, like, those little turnip things, and you had to, like, hit those things with shovels. I don't know. But it was funny. There's a lot of funny ones, and then you get prizes, whether it be, you can get bags, you can get mats for professions or...
Housing stuff. There's
housing stuff,
dyes, there's crafting materials.
And the cool thing is you can go to your friend's house. Like, I go to Jazzy's house sometimes, and I'll do her challenges, and I like that because you have challenges that I don't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you find out in the world while you're, questing. Sometimes you get them as quest rewards, sometimes random drops. You get what's called fab kits. Those are what you need most of the time to make like a challenge or something like that. To place it into your property, you have to have one. The only crappy thing about them is if you take it down, remove it to put something else in, you have to find another fab kit of the same kind to put it back. It's not once you learn it, you have it. And the other thing about plots in general, housing plots, just to touch on that real quick, is that once a week you have to repair the stuff on your land, which I think is another way for them to kind of gold sink people a little bit. Typically, from what I've seen, granted, I had kind of lower tier stuff. I think the highest tier I ever got was tier 3, and I think it cost me 12 gold, which is really not a lot.
You got tier 3, like...
I think I got the tier 3 festival.
Oh, okay. I was going to say the mat thing, like, for if you had, like, relic or whatever. I still have tier 1. Mm-hmm. I can't get a new one. I don't know how.
But
I have to find them, but...
My favorite challenge was when I found that was a fab kit, too. It was called Gold Rush. What it was is it set it up. It looked like it was a little hill with a little shack.
One on your house?
Yeah, one at my house, sorry. And had a river through it. And when you activated it, it would start throwing, like, landmines, like bombs. And the point of it is you had to run around and collect 25 piles of coins, it looked like, or gold, essentially. And it was a lot of fun because, you had the terrain, the hill, and the river, and all this stuff. And you can't get too far away from challenges, otherwise it'll fail you too. So it was I think it would be a good exercise in just learning how to dodge telegraphs, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot of them.
And just real quick on the challenges, there's like a gold, silver, and bronze medal. Like, let's say for yours, I think you had to collect coins if you got hit by one mine and you failed the challenge. Yeah. Is that how it was?
Well, there's certain ones that have that. Usually it's ones that are like, kill so many or kill this kind. That one that I had didn't have a gold, silver, bronze rank.
Oh, really? I don't think they do in the beginning levels, but later on they start to put them in more.
Yeah.
I know I had a race one in White Veil, the big crater or whatever, where the giant exiled war bot thing was.
Yeah.
I need your help on. There was like floating crystals or floating platforms or something. And you had to, I think it was floating rocks, and you had to jump up these floating rocks. You can either like take a jetpack up there, or you could do the challenge, and that's like jumping on the rock all the way up to this platform high in the sky. And depending on how fast you did it, like it would say, if you complete this in 2 minutes, you get a gold reward.
Yeah.
Or if you completed it all, you get a bronze. So, and when you complete a challenge, depending on what you get a multiplier. So sometimes there'll be like selections that are like, they'll say probably not, fat chance being the hardest one to get.
The best items they can give you on a
list and then
there.
you'll have a, let's say you get a gold, you'll have a 10 times greater chance of getting that item.
Yeah, it increases your odds for the better items, the higher
Yeah,
medal
because
you get.
it like randomly selects, so it'll make it more, you'll have more of a chance to get that. So the last thing we have is housing, and housing is very much a very big part of your game. I mean, you don't have to do anything with it. Do you even have to pay for a house when you actually get one? I think you do.
The initial little first house, yeah. You gotta put a house. You have to at least put the little one on. Yeah.
You get the plot for free, but you have to pay for the house.
It's not very expensive. I think the first one's like a gold.
Yeah, but the freaking big house is...
Those are 3 platinum.
Yeah. I only have one. I'm level 30, so...
Yeah.
Gold is actually kind of hard to come by. I kind of like that. I mean, it's not hard to come by. You just don't get a lot from quests. I kind of like that because it makes you want to work for stuff. You can't just like...
I think it will be at first, but once people get alts and everything rolling,
Right.
you'll kind of have some money flowing. So yeah, I expect to see most people with that big house. But yeah, I was the same as you. I never got enough to get the big house. I only had the little one, but I decorated the crap out of the one I had.
Yeah. And housing was actually really fun. I mean, I'm not very creative. I had a bit of fun kind of creating my house. I kind of went for like actually not yet, but I was going to go for like a detective type theme.
Yeah.
Because you could change what it looks like in your house. You could, like, in your pictures that's actually at our house, we actually have a sky that we're like in space, and you can see the planet in the background. That's Nexus. We're doing our emotes. We just so happen to have the same sky. So it's a cool one.
Yeah, I actually spent a lot of time. I'd probably say at least half the time I spent in beta was playing with housing.
Yeah, and she has an awesome house. And
I mean, we even took like little things, like the little house that you get, the starter house, is a 1-story house. It's 1 room, very small. But my friend Ryan and I, who was on our last episode, him and I both decorated my house, and we took things that I had made from Architect, like even I had a small metal platform. We just made it bigger, made a 2nd story. Then we made some stairs out of other metal platforms. Then we decorated the 2nd story. We put walls up with little 2x4 pieces of wood that they give you, and you can get so in depth with that stuff that you can rotate it anyway, scale it anyway. I mean,
you could have secret rooms.
Yeah. I mean, he was even taking the numbers and the math. They let you go to advanced settings and set it up precisely, and it looked really good. And you would think that was a piece that they had made and we stuck out, but no, we took single pieces of wood and made a wall, and it looked really good.
You could find things that you find all over Nexus through questing and dungeon stuff. You get you can actually get like mannequins, and you could put clothes on them.
Yeah.
So like if you have like a costume that you don't want to be wearing right now, but you want it to be presented,
show it
on
off.
a mannequin, yeah.
You
So
can have
that's
up to
cool.
5 of those too. Yeah, you can put like maybe old raid tier sets or something like that.
Yeah, I know you have this really big, scary Yeti thing in your house
Yes.
as soon as you walk in.
Yeah, they actually have it so if you do a quest chain, like maybe a particularly hard zone-wide quest chain for the overarching story, you can get essentially a trophy of whatever creatures it was. Like I have a big Yeti, like you were saying, that has swords stabbing through it, and then I also have like a cougar rug.
Alligator rug too.
In Daradoon, yeah, I have another character that has the alligator rug. You can get, trophy items like that. I found one of my favorite things that I found is a Draken bar sign, and it actually it's a neon sign like you would expect to see at a bar, and it's like got her little leg kicking the Draken female. So that's kind of cool. I mean, they have all kinds of stuff, and I got a lot of stuff from the challenges that I put on my housing plot. A lot of housing items from that.
And they have a pretty good amount of items that you could just buy out of. They have while you're at your house, you can go to the vendor, which is you just click a button and you're at a vendor. Maybe they'll change it, maybe they won't. I don't know. But they have a lot of stuff that you could buy already. Pretty decent selection, I'd say. We're bound to add more.
And there's certain items that you either get, through challenges or achievements or whatever, or buy from the vendor that will add to how much rested XP you'll get when you log off at your house. So you definitely want to try to find those items as well, while you're making your own little version of your house in Nexus.
Yeah, and if you're not into housing, you don't have to touch it. Like, it's not, it doesn't affect, it gives you rested XP, sure, but you don't get any, really, you don't really get anything out of it.
The other cool thing,
it's
too,
just more fun.
About housing, you can get a dungeon on your house, like on your housing plot. You can get fab kits for that, and you can also get raid portals that buff you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff with it, but...
Yeah. I mean, even like you were saying, even if you don't want to decorate a house, you can just throw up that house, and then you can make like a crafting bench, put a raid portal up. You never have to do anything with it. It benefits you whether you're hugely into it like me or just want to use it for the buffs. And another thing too is every day when you log in, every 24 hours, there's a buff board right when you walk in, and it has 3 different buffs, and the buffs change every day. So It might give you one that'll give you bonus PvP prestige, which is the currency for PvP. It might give you dungeon bonuses for renown. There's ones that give you PvE and questing, so you might get bonuses from that, bonus XP or bonus gold. I mean, there's a crafting one too. I've heard that one's pretty rare though, a crafting one that you can more likely to level up or something like that.
Right.
So that changes every day. So even if you just want to use it for that daily buff, it's there. So there's something for everybody there.
Yeah, and they did a really good job of that.
Alright, and to conclude this with our own personal beta experience, overall, what was your most liked part of the beta for Wildstar?
I gotta think about this one. You should go first.
I really just talked about it. I honestly was surprised by how much I liked the housing. I've never really been that into that kind of stuff in any other game that had it. A lot of my experience came from Rift. That was one of my favorite features in Rift, and they did a really good job of it. I think that there's still some things that Wildstar could do to improve on it, but I think they have a really nice, really robust housing system, and I think they've done a really good job with that to kind of make something for everyone.
And what I like the most, it's hard to say. I really, really like how pretty it looks. It looks so good. The graphics are great. It runs smooth. Before it didn't run so well. Well, it ran fine. It just had some FPS problems at some points.
Yeah, that's a big
And I've been playing the last 2 days, and I haven't had a problem really at all. It runs so smooth.
Yeah.
Granted, I do have some sort. It's not the best gaming PC, but it's not bad. I'd say it's below average. So, but if we're talking about mechanics or something like that, I like the combat.
Yes.
Keeps you moving.
It's something
The
refreshing.
abilities, all the abilities, how the combat works, like the amps.
All right. So what is it that you like the least about the beta? I know we love the game, so it's really hard to talk bad about it, but can't pretend it's perfect.
I don't know. What do I like the least? I don't like that you can keep switching professions.
Yeah, that's a
Because
good point.
the reason why I don't like that is because it takes a uniqueness out of your character. Professions, you can level them up. You get 2. You get a gathering and I guess you don't have to, but you can get a gathering. You can get like mining and weaponsmithing like I did. But if you want to level up a different profession, you could switch and then you could level up that. But let's say you want weapons now, you could switch back to your weaponsmithing and mining, and you could still have all your recipes and
The
your
only
talents.
thing they
You won't-
have that kind of scales against that, though, is that I've heard that the higher level you are, the more it costs platinum to switch it. But I think the cooldown needs to be longer, honestly.
Yeah, it's only like a day. You could like.
Yeah, 24 hours.
I just kind of think they shouldn't have it at all, just because it takes away the uniqueness of your character. Like, if you're a weaponsmith, what's stopping other people from becoming a weaponsmith? Let's say they're like a...
Yeah, I think it'll
architect
definitely
like
have
that.
an impact on the economy. I've thought about
It's
that
like,
too.
yeah,
Being that
can't-
that's one of the things that I really like to do in MMOs is be a big, econ player, play the markets
Yeah.
and stuff.
And you can understand that people might not want to, level up a whole profession.
Yeah.
They're level 50 and like go back to starting places and mine,
Yeah.
grind that stuff. But they can, and that might be a problem because someone might be a jack of all trades, master of everything.
I think at the beginning it won't be that big of a deal, but
Yeah,
as
but
time
later
goes
on,
on, people are...
It won't be used.
Honestly,
for
I had
adults,
planned
really.
to do that myself, to do
Yeah.
it anyway.
In my opinion, if you were stuck, like kind of like WoW, if you like unlearned it, then you lose all the points and you'd have to learn it again. I like that better.
I mean, like I said, I think if they have to have it, that like a bigger cooldown, like maybe 3 days or something, even,
Yeah.
would be a good compromise to me,
Yeah. Yeah, just like in my opinion, it's just like, what's the point of being a weaponsmith and putting it in the auction house so everyone else
Yeah.
can? You know what I mean?
Yeah. My least favorite thing isn't that in depth, just a minor gripe. Well, a couple things. The travel in Wildstar is a little cumbersome. It seems like they have taxis. They have the teleporting portals that you can set essentially like a Hearthstone. Like every time you come into a new quest hub, you can say, okay, I want to teleport back here. And that's on a 20-minute cooldown. And
Yeah.
the taxi travel, really more specifically, was kind of bothersome to me for a couple reasons. One, the taxi driver doesn't ever shut up.
He's okay. Like for the first couple of rides, he's kind of entertaining.
Yeah, the first couple times it's funny, but they need like a slider for the audio on him or something.
I think you can, because I think it was a bug at one point. I was watching someone else where you hear him once and then he just keep talking and you couldn't stop hearing him.
Yeah, when you were in Dehradun, he would do that. That was a few months ago. Yeah, that made it even worse probably for me, honestly.
Yeah,
but,
so you could probably...
He tells jokes and it's kind of funny, like you said, a couple times, but after that I want something to turn him off. I've had enough of him in beta.
I think you can, but it turns off all...
Yeah, it's probably ambient sound or something that you can turn it off, but yeah, you'd miss a lot of other stuff. One for him would be good. Just taxi driver sound. Whatever. And the other thing about taxis that I didn't really care for that was kind of annoying at times, it doesn't seem like the routes connect the way I think they should.
True. Yeah. I agree.
Like, even if I had in the same zone, like Dehradun was a good example of that. That's where I spent a lot of time right in the beginning. Even if you had a flight path from the starting area of Dehradun to like another quest hub, it wouldn't let you travel between them until you found all of them in a zone.
Yeah.
And that was kind of annoying. And I was like, well, it kind of defeats the purpose. I know that they have roads that are, painted orange on the mini map, and if you walk on those roads or on a mount or whatever, you have a 10% increase to your movement speed, which is cool. But the whole reason that the taxi exists is so I can get there faster.
Right.
So that was the only thing that I really had issue with, was taxi travel for those couple of reasons.
Yeah, and I have had that problem before where they'd be close, like it wouldn't be in like the same region, but it would be close, but it wouldn't be close enough where they could actually connect.
Yeah.
So like if I wanted to go from somewhere in Aloria to through Ilium to that starting zone, it wouldn't let me. I'd have to walk all the way through, which kind of sucked.
Yeah, and being that, in the beginning, I never had enough gold. I think it was 40 gold to get the new speed of mount. Being that, you're going at the slowest possible speed on a mount, even on those roads, it takes a while to go from 2 continents over. Alright, everybody, that's going to be it for us today. Thank you for tuning in and listening to us again this week. You can follow me, Jazzy, on Twitter for show updates and more at Jazzy_Chua. You can subscribe to Nuts' YouTube channel at Cluffy142, CLOUGHIE 142. For anyone looking for a guild for Wildstar, you can come check out our Dominion-based raiding guild at lswildstar.com. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about anything we've talked about today, or how you think we can get better. And we will see you guys next week.
Later, guys.